Hello and welcome to Worldview on Spectrum Television. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. Let's take a look at the headlines. Ukraine President Zelensky says Russian gains in East only temporary. Pentagon says American ghost drones for Ukraine designed for attack. Tennessee passes bill that will require drunk drivers to pay child support if they kill a parent of a minor. Details of these stories and more in a moment. First, in the world news today, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has told a conference in Delhi that it is a reality that the Russian bombardment of Ukraine could continue to the end of next year. Johnson was affirming the suggestion by intelligence to that effect. According to Johnson, the Russian President Vladimir Putin has a huge army and a difficult political position because he has made a catastrophic blunder. The UK Prime Minister, however, said no matter the military superiority Putin may be able to bring to bear over the next, he wouldn't be able to the spirit of the Ukrainian people. Meanwhile, Moscow says 2 British men captured by Russian forces while fighting in Ukraine are being taken care of. A 28-year-old Aiden Aslin were reportedly captured last week while defending the southeastern city of Mariupol. In shown on Russian state TV, bruising, prompting their families to call for the Geneva Convention to be respected. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova, however, said the British captives were being fed, watered and given the necessary assistance alongside other foreigners who have surrendered or been detained. In the meantime, one of the last Ukrainian defenders in Mariupol has told newsmen that the besieged steelworks where they are holed up is largely destroyed above ground and civilians are trapped under the collapsed buildings. Speaking from the Azovstal plant, the last part of Mariupol, not on the Stozlev Palmer said defenders had repelled waves of Russian attacks. He maintained that of Ukraine. In a related development, a U.S. satellite firm says it has identified a mass burial site containing about 200 graves near Mariupol, a city which Russian forces have been trying to wrest control of for weeks. Meza said its images showed an expansion of graves that began at the end of March. Local Ukrainian officials accused the Russians of burying Mariupol civilians killed by Russian troops there. Still on the Ukrainian crisis, a Russian tycoon, Oleg Tinkov, has lambasted the country's invasion in Ukraine and called for an end to the war. Tinkov wrote in an Instagram post that he did not see any beneficiary of the conflict. The tycoon is one of Russia's most well-known entrepreneurs and founded the global online bank Tinkov and owned the cycling team Tinkov Saxo. Reports say he is also one of the most high-profile Russians to publicly condemn President Vladimir Putin's actions. 2 of the country's most prominent oligarchs, Mikhail Friedman and Oleg Deripaska, have reportedly made separate calls for peace, but have stopped short of direct criticisms.
He's also talking about a way back for President Putin. He's incredibly critical of Putin, scathing in a way that no oligarch currently in the orbit of President Putin has been so far, calling the war insane, saying that there's a terrible army, that the generals are waking up from hangovers, realizing this, that an era, and this is where the criticism becomes very direct of President Putin and the failure of the army, by saying this sort of era of civility and groveling and nepotism is what's led across the country, is what's led to the fact that the army can't fight and that they're making losses. So really is laying this right at the feet of President Putin, and criticizing the civil servants who work in the Kremlin, saying that they're in shock that their children can't go and holiday on the French Riviera. It's not clear if he's talking about the Kremlin spokesman there or the Russian foreign minister, but these are certainly men whose children, stepchildren, travel around Europe. So he's taking a real aim at the top, at the second level, but at the same time, as I say, sort of trying to find a way out for Putin, saying that the West should find a face-saving way out for President Putin, which I think really gets to the core issue here, that this is all about President Putin. Tinkoff understands this. It's not about anyone else.
Meanwhile, the United States government says the newly disclosed ghost drones that are part of America's latest arms package for Ukraine were developed by the US Air Force for attacking targets. It noted that the drones are destroyed after a single use. The United States and its allies have reportedly ramped up arms shipments to Kiev ahead of Russia's announced offensive in eastern Ukraine.
Important.
As Russia tries to salvage its nearly 2-month-old campaign, according to reports, Ukrainian forces have used Western weapons including Stinger and Javelin missiles, along with drones, to target Russian positions.
Consultative group at Ramstein Air Base on the 26th, next week. The goal was to bring together stakeholders from all around the world for a series of meetings on the latest Ukraine defense needs and this is critically important, ensuring that Ukraine's enduring security and sovereignty over the long term is respected and developed. Topics will range on the agenda from obviously the latest battlefield assessment of the renewed Russian offensive in eastern Ukraine to energizing the defense industrial base in an effort to continue the steady flow of security assistance, and again, in taking a longer, larger view at Ukraine's defense needs going forward. Beyond the war that they're facing right now, we think it's time to have that discussion as well. So the Secretary is very much looking forward to getting over to Ramstein early in the week to have this meeting. On the Phoenix Ghost, this is a drone that had been in development before the invasion, clearly. The Air Force was working this. And in discussions with the Ukrainians, again, about their requirements, we believed that, that this particular system would very nicely suit their needs, particularly in eastern Ukraine. And so it was already in development, but we will continue to move that development in ways that are attuned to Ukrainian requirements for unmanned aerial systems of a tactical nature in eastern Ukraine. I'm just not going to get into great detail about the specifications here. I would just tell you that that this unmanned aerial system is designed for tactical operations. In other words, largely but not exclusively to attack targets. It, like almost all unmanned aerial systems, of course, has optics. So it can also be used to give you a sight picture of what it's seeing, of course. But its principal focus is attack. The whole idea of this was for us to use it. So I would expect we'd still have an interest in using this capability, but we're also now, we see the benefit right now, in the moment, for Ukraine to use it.
Away from that, a German man has been declared an official suspect by Portuguese prosecutors investigating the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. Christian Bruckner has been made an arguido, but Portuguese authorities have not formally revealed the suspect's name. In 2020, German police announced they were investigating him in connection with Madeleine's disappearance. Bruckner has, however, not been charged and denies any involvement in the case. German authorities informed him he was a suspect at the request of Portuguese prosecutors in Faro. 3-year-old Madeleine disappeared during a family holiday in Praia de Luz in 2007. She has never been found, and investigators believe she was abducted from the holiday apartment where the family were staying in the Algarve resort. Away from that, Tennessee State Senate has unanimously voted to pass a bill which would be known as Bentley's Law and would require drunk drivers to pay child support if they kill a minor's parent in a drunk driving incident. Reports say the bill has already passed with unanimous support in the Tennessee House and will mandate that anyone convicted of vehicular homicide due to intoxication should pay child support to the child of the parent killed in the accident. It gives the convicted 1 year to begin payments if they are unable to do so due to incarceration, and the payments would be required to continue until the child is 18 years old. The bill cites reasons for the payments to include maintaining the child's standard of living, the financial resources and needs of the child, as well as the financial needs of the surviving parent or guardian of the child. In a separate development, Japan's ruling coalition has agreed to seek a supplementary budget of more than 2.5 trillion yen for fiscal 2022 to cushion the impact of surging energy and food prices spurred by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is expected to instruct officials to start drafting an extra budget for the year that started this month and unveil details of an emergency economic package as early as Tuesday. The ruling party lawmakers said the Liberal Democratic Party and its junior coalition partner, Komeito, agreed to aim for the submission of a budget plan to Parliament in late May to realize its passage before the current Diet session ends on June 15. Elsewhere, France has issued an international arrest warrant for Carlos Ghosn, the disgraced former Nissan executive who jumped bail in Japan and fled to Lebanon. Prosecutors made this known in the Paris suburb of Nanterre. They said the warrant was issued over £15 million in suspect payments between the Renault-Nissan alliance that Ghosn once headed and an Omani company, Suhail Bawan Automobiles. The allegations involve misuse of company assets, money laundering, and corruption. After the break, North and South Korean leaders exchange letters to ease hostility. Do stay with us.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My Lord, sorry, my Lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
The reality of life is the varying contrast that exists in humanity. That is why in Majesty Realm Hotels Limited, plots 164 and 166A line, a with housing estate Uyo, we combine the culture of excellence and sophistication that have constantly made us a home to our guests. Experience the luxury of the rooms like Exquisite Room Deluxe, Executive Deluxe, Business Suite, and Executive Suite. Savour our rich and varied cuisines served in our beautiful restaurant, just as our bar gives you the opportunity to unwind. Our standard gym and swimming pool help you keep fit and relaxed, while our laundry defines your real personality. Having restricted access to the world, courtesy of our uninterrupted internet services and 24-hour power supply. Enjoy premium quality care and well-deserved value of royalty, all at Majesty Realm Hotels Limited, plots 164 and 166A line, a with housing estate to you. Telephone 0803 447 8543 or 0802 796 2116. Email majestyrealmhotels2002@gmail.com. Majesty Realm Hotels, a sure place for relaxation.
Many thanks for staying tuned. Now, the leaders of the rival Koreas exchanged letters expressing hope for improved bilateral relations, which plummeted in the past 3 years amid a freeze in nuclear negotiations and North Korea's accelerating weapons development. North Korea's state media said leader Kim Jong-un on Wednesday received a personal letter from outgoing South Korean President Moon Jae-in and replied on Thursday with his own letter appreciating Moon's peace efforts during his term. Pyongyang's official Korean Central News Agency said their exchange of letters showed their deep trust. Moon's office also confirmed that he exchanged letters with Kim but did not immediately say what was said. Tensions on the Korean peninsula have risen since a series of North Korean weapons tests this year, including its first flight test of an intercontinental ballistic missile since 2017 in March, reviving the nuclear brinkmanship aimed at forcing the US to accept it as a nuclear power and to remove crippling sanctions. Away from that, a rights group has said in a new report that the Biden administration has imprisoned tens of thousands of asylum seekers in violation of United States and international law, just weeks before large numbers of people are expected to arrive at the country's southern border. In a report published yesterday, Human Rights First said that Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) has held tens of thousands of people in jails instead of allowing them to live in the US with their families or sponsors as their asylum cases are decided. The group said that jailing asylum seekers is inhumane, unnecessary, and wasteful, and has needlessly subjected people to severe physical and psychological harm, medical neglect, and discrimination. The detention of asylum seekers is generally prohibited under international law, except in exceptional circumstances. The International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights prohibits detention that is unreasonable, unnecessary, disproportionate, or arbitrary. And that's all we have for you at this time.